Hi, welcome to episode 231 of your favorite daily podcast, A Couple of Things, a podcast about things. Today, I'm going to talk about things that I'm currently enjoying, loving, sparking joy, and so on and so forth. So, this past weekend, I went to a city called Valkenburg in the Netherlands, and it's on the ends, the literal ends of the Netherlands from Amsterdam. It's about 2.5 hours thereabouts, and I had the best time. I ziplined, and that sparked fun. I mean, it wasn't like a long zipline because Valkenburg is one of the hilliest places in the Netherlands. The Netherlands is generally flat, but Valkenburg has like hills and stuff, and so there's room to do things like that. And so I ziplined off a tower. It wasn't very long. The tower was very high. God, climbing up the stairs was a very horrible experience. I was so out of breath by the time I got to the top, and the view from the tower was so beautiful. However, no, there was no however. Yeah, so I did the ziplining thing. I like when I got off the steeple. I think it's called a steeple. I was like, "What the heck are you doing?" And then it was too late to go back, but so I just kept going. I went into it, and when I was just getting into it, it ended. So now I want to go and proper zip line in a proper, like, where there's a bit of a distance where I can actually enjoy it fully. But it was a really, really thrilling experience. My legs were shaking by the end, but I really enjoyed it. It was fun. So that sparked so much joy, and I really enjoyed that experience. And I think it was a good first experience for me because it wasn't anything too crazy. And now I'm like, yes, I want to do this again. And even do other stuff like maybe skydiving. I will not be doing bungee jumping, child. That one's beyond me. Then, as part of that trip, I've been looking for this particular bread maker on everywhere, to the point where I emailed the manufacturers because I couldn't find it anywhere. And they're like, oh, they're not making it anymore. And so I check on Facebook Marketplace, and I find this specific bread maker that I've been looking for. Only one person has it. And that person lived also on the ends of the Netherlands. So I was going to be like, yeah, I'm not interested, don't worry. And then I remember that I started to check how far it was from Falkenberg, and it was like an hour ish. So I went there. I went to Falkenberg with one of my friends, and so we both went after we finished our fun time in Falkenberg. We went there and picked it up, and it was a very long and hilarious journey. Like that journey was something. There was a point where we weren't sure about the bus that we were on, what was going on, and so I went to talk to the driver to like let him know the stop we wanted to get off at. That's when we were going to the person's house to pick up the bread maker, and we totally were not paying attention to the bus stations anymore for some reason. And for me, this is a big problem because most of the time I take the metro everywhere. Like most of the places I go to, they have a metro stop. So I rarely have to take the bus or the tram. And so I often forget that you need to pay attention to the stop so you can press the stop button before your stop, and the bus will actually or tram will actually stop there because they don't stop everywhere. Um and so we weren't paying attention, and the bus apparently had passed our stop, and then the guy noticed us in the back, and he's like, what are you still doing on the bus? It was so, and the way he said it was so hilarious. Like, but thankfully he dropped us off, like it wasn't too far from the stop, and he dropped us off there. If he had gone to the next stop, we would have had to walk like 20 or 30 minutes back. And I'm not even exaggerating, because it was one of those places where the buses are like kilometers, as in kilometers, and not just like 1 kilometer apart, like lots of kilometers apart. And it's like there's like fields and farms. It's like the literal end. At some point we were seeing Germany from where we were. Like the only thing that was separating us from Germany was like a field, literally. But yeah, my bread maker is sparking joy. I haven't used it yet. I was decoupling it and washing out things, the insides. And I'm going to bake bread with it tomorrow. I'm so excited. So the anticipation of that is sparking joy for me right now. Another thing that is sparking joy for me is something that I just started, but it's also like a future thing. Is I started a new Instagram page called Ladi Does Things, where I'm just going to be posting videos and pictures of me doing things. For example, making bread and doing all kinds of things. Like basically, it's going to be my public Instagram page for sharing the things that I'm finding fun and exciting, kind of like what this podcast is, but on a more visual level. And that one, there's no like regular cadence that I plan to have. It's just like going with the vibes. Whatever is happening, and that's all great. So I'm really also excited about that. And looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to making a lot of things. Like I have a list of things that I want to make at home, and then compare with like buying from the supermarkets and see what I prefer. For example, cottage cheese. I read a couple of recipes, and it seems very, very easy to make. So I'm looking forward to that. I also want to make whey, which you can get from making cottage cheese. Actually, what I wanted to make was whey, because I was looking for whey and for whey protein in the supermarket, but all of them have all these weird additives, and I'm trying as much as possible to eat like better, like generally, not like quote unquote eat healthy, but like eat things that are like with as little additional things as possible. So, but all the way I've been seeing in the supermarket and even online, they all have like tons of ingredients in them. And I'm trying to reduce that. So anyways, I googled like how to make my own whey, and it seems like a very long and difficult process. You can make whey from yogurt, from milk, from many things. But then I looked up cottage cheese like last minute, and then I feel like that is the best one for me, because I don't particularly like yogurt. So even if I make yogurt, but maybe if I make my own yogurt, I would like it. I don't know. But anyway, so I'm really excited about like making all this stuff, because also the goal with the whey in particular was to increase my protein intake, because that's all the rave now. You need to eat a lot of protein to build muscle and all of those things. And as you already know, I'm on a drive to be able to do pull-ups. Right, we're almost getting there. We're really making some great improvements and advances on that level. So it's more pertain to grow more muscle so that I can do things like pull-ups and lift heavy things. So yeah, so the anticipation of all of those things, this is sparking a lot of joy for me. Something else that is random but also sparking joy is almost every day I watch like an episode or two of Monk with my husband, and it's so fun because it's just an interesting show, and it's just a random thing that we just randomly started doing, and that is sparking joy for whatever reason. And I love that. So yeah, I think that's all I can think about for now. Oh, I started going to the gym again, as I have said on a recent episode, and the classes that I'm doing are sparking joy, especially my boxing class. I'm loving it. Although most times at the end of the boxing class, I'm like wiped out. I'm like, why am I doing this? But I find it really, really exciting. So that is also sparking joy. Yeah, and that's it for today's episode. Thank you for listening to my random things that are currently sparking joy in my life. And you can also share with me what is sparking joy in your life currently in the comments, wherever. Okay, thanks. Bye. Also, ask me questions. Submit a question. Submit a question. Thank you. Thank you for listening to today's episode of A Couple of Things. If there was anything you found interesting or insightful, or you enjoyed the episode, please do share to someone or multiple people. Like, leave a comment, and definitely do subscribe and all the nice things. Bye.